Well, hello and welcome. As regulars to the Old Classic Car website will know, from time to time I lurch off into other forms of classic transport, and today I've gathered up 270 photographs of classic British vans and pickups. There are some real rarities lurking in this collection, mixed in with old favourites such as Morris Minor vans, Bedford CAs, Morris J-types, Ford E83W vans and pickups, minivans, cobwebs, Austin A35 vans and pickups, and many, many more dating from the 1920s through to the 1980s. Oddballs include a selection of Trojans, Jowett Bradfords, and an amazing Daimler. Many are in restored condition while others are barn finds. And did these vans and pickups go on to be restored, or are they still sat in sheds, garages, hedges and ditches, awaiting a much-deserved restoration? If you can shed more light on the vans and pickups featured, please add a note in the comments. If I have any of the identifications wrong, I'm sure there'll be a few, again, please add in your corrections. To make sure that you catch future uploads relating to all cars, vans, pickups and more, please like and subscribe and keep an eye on this channel. Also check out the Old Classic Car site for pages and pages of old car information, memorabilia, memories and photographs dating back over 100 years. Thanks for watching. Okay, well, let's get going. And there's an Austin 10 or an Austin 12 pickup truck. This was at a drivers club meeting several years ago, and a beautiful original vehicle. Then we've got a Mark II Bedford CA alongside a Minor, and a somewhat derelict barn, and a Series 1 Land Rover. And we've got a Ford Thames 307E van, and an Austin badged Morris Minor pickup. Obviously some of these are more recognisable than others, so I don't need to repeat myself too often. And there's a Cooper Car Company Ford E83W van. That was at Goodwood. And an Austin A35 van at the NEC. And an A55 van. A cracking little minivan with a J40 pedal car on the roof. And an old Austin, the late 30s Austin van. And this was it a few years earlier. The first of lots of Morris J-types that are going to feature in this video. And quite an early A40 pickup with the Mazak grille. And a Bond, fiberglass Bond. There's a very yellow Morris sedan at the Goodwood Revival. And one of many Ford E83Ws that will be in this video as well. This one's been restored as a flatback. And then we've got a Mark I Bedford CA, or a matching pair in fact. And a lovely old Morris commercial. And a Bedford HA. The rear view of an A40 pickup with the earlier removable rear wheel spats. On later versions that would be a fixed steel panel. Another Mini. And an E83W in the southeastern gasboard livery. There's that Land Rover again, this time it's got a winch in the back. This is a real rarity, Bedford PC van. In the livery of Jones Baylors with a little Fordson alongside it. And talking of Fordsons, here's an E83W, Ford Thames from probably the mid-1950s. And we've got a Maestro 500 van, they're beginning to be preserved now. An Austin badged Morris Minor van. A Ford Thames 400E with an E83W alongside it. We've got the Austin Morris pickup truck based on the Marina. And a lovely old V8 Pilot. Thames 307E. A cracking Morris, probably late 1920s. A pair of Morris J-types, the nearest is an ex-GPO with the rubber wings. The Mark III Bedford CA with a one-piece deep windscreen. There's a Ford Transit Mark I. A little Austin 7. Again, a Mintex vehicle, this time a Morris Minor. It's a slightly stormy Goodwood meeting. And the Bedford CA Mark 1, I think this was a Worko bus with the seats down the side and the back. And a pre-war Morris van. And another V8 Ford Pilot. This is a rare one, a little standard based on the Standard 10. Morris J-type van, again at Goodwood. And a Morris pickup, this time with a saloon bonnet with the side strips on it. Another rarity, the Standard Atlas, a bit like Austin's J2. That one in the livery of Shell. And another Ford Thames E83W. And a late example of the A40 van with the fixed rear wheel arches and a painted grille. There's a Morris Z van restoration project. Stop me and buy one, Bedford CA ice cream van. And this was in Portugal, a Mark 1 Ford Escort van that someone's added some windows into. Another J-type at Goodwood. And a Mark 1 Bedford CA. Like I say, if you can add any comments to these photographs, please do so. There's another 300E Ford Thames, based on a 100E. This Austin 6, I'm not sure if this was always a van or if someone's built it later, I'm not quite sure. Another little Fordson. No badges on the bonnet, so it's probably a Fordson rather than a Thames. This is a Morris, I think they call these the Series 3 van, again from the 1950s. And a good old Morris Minor. An Austin J2 security van. No prizes for guessing what that is. And an A35 in its long-term home. A very shiny J-type. This was at Tatton Park some years ago. And a Minor in the livery of an old Leyland car dealership in Birmingham. A very early Standard Vanguard Phase 1 pickup with the early slatted grille. A Morris Z van. And an A40 van, again with the later all-steel rear body and the fixed arches. This is my old steel-backed Ford E83W pickup, which is now residing under a new registration in Southern Ireland, I think. Another A35. And up in the heavens, a Series 2 Bedford CA panel van, short wheelbase, very original. And there's an Austin Morris J4 pickup. And the remains of another steel-backed E83W, probably a bit beyond restoration, but you never know. And another Austin badge van. And a three-wheeled Scamel. This is the only photo I've got of a Morris 8 van, based on a Series 1, I think. Another early A40 pickup with the removable rear wheel covers. A BMC J4 panel van. Just look how straight the body sides are on that. And to the NEC and the Mark 1 Ford Escort van. And a collection of ancient, very dusty barn find Fords. Another A35 van, this one from about 1966, going by the registration. And a lovely little Austin 8 van. Those are one of my favourites actually. And a Standard Vanguard pickup. That was at an auction at Donington Park years ago. And this was a lovely comma van that appeared in Llandudno some years ago now. I've got a Morris Z van, post office. Note the different door handles on the post office versions. There's another little Ford, that was in Portugal. Technically it's the estate version, but it's the same shape as a van. Another Moggy. And the sad remains of a Bedford CA, one of several that I found in the grounds of a crumbling old house down south. Another trusty little Ford. And an A40 pickup. with a painted grille but still with the removable rear wheel arches. And there's a Leyland version of the standard Atlas. Is it the Leyland 20? Another A35 dragged out of a barn. There's an Austin A55 at the NEC. That was my first E83W pickup. That photograph was taken in 1989 in North Wales. There's an Austin Morris J4 panel van with the lightweight special racing car just peeking out in the background. There's a comma cob based on Mink's running gear. The British Leyland era Mini police car van. Ford Transit with a coach-built bodywork, ambulance bodywork on it. A very tired-looking E83W. A Morris Minor police van with very large mirrors. Ford Thames 300E van. It's interesting that quite a few of these have got prefect-style grills. Here's another one. Whether that was original on the vans or not, I'm not sure. Seems a little ostentatious. There's an A55 van. Another 300E. Note how small the rear windows are. An Austin 10.4 or 12.4 pickup truck. That pops up at local events from time to time. There's a very much a barn find A40 van. And this cracking little E83W flatbed was spotted by the road in Portugal somewhere. And there's a Fordson E494C van that was in a barn over in the Pennines. And then we've got a coach-built J-type, very unusual bodywork. There's a Thames 300E van on a snowy day at Donington Park. And at the same event, a slightly later Phase 1 or 2 Vanguard pickup. Inside was this cracking Bedford, which it says is a 1935 Bedford AYSC 800 weight van. And there's another Bedford CA, again in the grounds of the big old house that I found years ago, the J-type at Donington. And the owner of this little Ford has helpfully put the identification on the rear. Shiny J-type. And there's the Daimler that I mentioned, driving through Bath. A pair of Morris PV vans, a friend of mine's restoring one of those at the moment. And a pair of old Trojans looking slightly time-worn. And an immaculately restored Ford Transit Mark 1 chassis cab. A very unrestored, very tired-looking comma cob. Bedford CF2, I think. Here's a real oddball. It's a Rover, an air-cooled Rover 8. We've got one of several Austin A35 pickups to feature here. And here's an Austin badged version of the Morris LD. This one restored as a race support vehicle. We've got an Austin A55, very similar to the Cambridge, at least from the front. One of the last minivans, a Ford Escort Mark II van, seen at Donington. And a very tired Austin A30 van. And here's an Austin 8 van, part restored, which hopefully went on to be restored, I don't know. And another A35. That's my old A40 pickup, which is still around but in a different colour scheme last time I saw it. There's a restored Morris Z van alongside a GPO version of the same. Note the different door handles again. There's an E83W I found in a decomposing garage. There's a very nice little standard Tilly from World War II. There's a comma, and mounted in the back is a small gas turbine engine which was used to fire up the Avro Vulcan, which it now hides beneath. And there's a Morris Minor based van from the early 1930s. Another Ford Thames E83W looking very dusty in an old warehouse. And there's a Thames 300E. There's the Morris Oxford era pickup truck. Quite a rarity. Another J-type, but this time a tipper. I think that's the only one I've ever seen. There's a lovely old Albion. An A35 RAC road service vehicle. There's another A55 with an MG Maestro of all things next to it. And here's a little 410 van that looks like it needs a little TLC. This was down at Malvern a few years ago. And then a very restored, very smart Mark 1 Transit with the twin wheels. And a Morris minivan. Early minivans like this had the little vent in the roof, just like the A35. An early 410 van with the small headlights and the non-beaded edge front wings. And the Ital era. This is it the Morris, I don't know, 575 or 875 van. Comma PB, forward control. Another Morris minivan. There's a little E83W. And in Australia these were called the Fordson 1010s. And a Mini next to a Marina-based Suntour Caravanette. A super little Bedford CA pickup. There's Busby on the side of a British Telecom miner. Another coach-built J-type. Again, very unusual bodywork. And there's a Triumph Courier van. Basically a Herald Estates with panelled inside windows. Another A35 and the livery and a nod to Wallace and Gromit. This was at Gaydon, a minivan in the colours of the Cooper Racing Car Company. Another Series 1 Land Rover. A Reliant Supervan. Is this a Rally? Or is it a Reliant? I'm not sure. Very nice wooden drop side Ford Thames pickup. Mark III Bedford CA. It's a long wheelbase, I think. And a largely original Moggy pickup, although it's got a saloon bonnet on it. Very nice J-type. This was in South Wales, a Bedford CF ice cream van. 1930s Austin van. And one of the few military vehicles in this collection, a big old Humber. And here's a Dutch registered left-hand drive A35 van. That was at Tatton Park years ago. And again, this was taken a long time ago, this Jowett Bradford in London. No, Morris van, mid-late 1950s. And another standard pickup truck. This one quite a late example with a pennant style front wings. Very tidy Austin Morris J4 van. A classic Mini, sporting a set of replica Mini lights. Ford Thames diesel powered 400E. And a long wheelbase Bedford CA done up in the livery of a motorcycle racer. Two Austins, a Mini in the foreground with a vent in the roof, and the A35. A very colourful J-type. It makes a change to see a Reliant Supervan that's not yellow. This is in the livery of Royal Mail. And this was a garage fine standard Vanguard van that I found years ago. I did try to buy it but didn't. And there's a J4 pickup. This is a one-off coach-built Comma Q25, which last time I saw photos of it was in a million pieces. And there's a Ford Transit Mark 1 and a BMC JU250 camper van. I didn't have any photos of vans, so the camper shot will have to do for now. Another Austin badged miner. Here's an Austin K2 from the Second World War. I think it was ex-AFS. And we've got the Mark 1 Transit with an elongated front end. And Morris LD walk-through van. A classic Mini, this one on its original wheels. And another staple of small businesses of the 40s and 50s, the Morris Z van. There's a lovely pre-war Austin. And another one of the snub-nosed Trojans of the 1950s. Oh dear, a very sad looking Bedford CA in the undergrowth. That's not going anywhere. A much happier looking E83W. A real classic Ford of the 1950s. There's a super little Bedford CA tipper truck. This was ex-Brighton Council. Another Moggy. With a Rover P4 and MGB for company. There's a Morris commercial. A very straight E83W van with a Mini alongside it. It's a really nice Austin, possibly a 10-4, early 1930s I would guess. We all know what that is. And there's a slightly derelict comma cob, another classic from the sort of mid-late 50s. And a part restored Austin 8 van. Post office telephones with the rubber wings, another J-type. This was in a motorcycle museum, another A35, done up in the museum's livery. And that was a display on the Morris J-type club stand many years ago. I think that was my clock at the top actually. A very modified Mini pickup. Jowett Bradford. There's one of the Imp era comma cob vans. That was at Tatton Park. A brace of J-types. A very straight Mini. Another Bedford HA. Nice bright cheerful J-type. Another classic Miner. I'm surprised how many of these that I've actually put into this collection are the Austin badge versions actually. There's an A35 advertising the club group. There's another standard pickup based on the 10 and the Pennant. Post office telephones Morris Z van. And an Austin A55. That's a rare Austin 152 all steel pickup truck, a very rare survivor. A classic Morris J-type. And this is probably one of my favourites. This is a Fordson, I think it's the E88W, I'm sure someone will tell me. Here's a comma Tilly from the Second World War, a Morris commercial. Another Ford Anglia based van. Note the bottom of the door that curves up at the back. That's to avoid curbs when you swing the door open. Morris Mini, Austin or Morris minivan. Very shiny A35. Another Fordson 500 weight van from Basildon. And a Batman special ice cream van. That was at the Goodwood Revival. And in the undergrowth, another Bedford CA with a Vauxhall Viva for company. A standard 10 pickup, the earlier type. A couple of classic BMC machines. And there's another one, a Morris van in post office telephones colours. Very nice A40 pickup. That's a Jowett Bradford, I think. Another one of the derelict CAs in the undergrowth. They were offered to the club, I believe, but they didn't seem to be interested, so they all got scrapped. And there's a Ford Anglia-based ice cream van, and another super rare Austin A35 pickup truck I mean, less than 500 of those were made. There's an Austin Gypsy, looking very original. There's another, I think, is it a Morris J2, an ambulance, sort of post-vintage Austin 7 van, a comma PB, looks like a little camper. Rear view of a very nicely restored Bedford CA, Ford Escort Mark 1, alongside a P5B Rover. A split screen Morris van, it's fairly unusual now. The Morris J2 pickup I owned years ago. There's only a couple of those known, I think. The Leyland DAF. I haven't got many Sherpa photographs, so this slightly later DAF badge version will have to do. Then we've got a modified Ford Zephyr Mark II Ute, which was the Australia-only pickup version. And there's another 400E. There's a Leyland Sherpa camper. Again, I haven't got any photographs of the plain van version, so I had to use the camper. Another little three-wheeler van, Reliant or Rally, someone will tell me. And an Austin LD, a walk-through van. And a Bedford CA ambulance needing a little TLC. E35 pickup. That was at the Smallwood show about 15 years ago. And that, believe it or not, is the remains of a Morris Minor era van of the early 1930s. There's an Austin 7 as well. A gorgeous Fordson 7V panel van. That is just a stunning van. And a dinky little Austin or Morris ambulance, which has probably been converted into a camper. Another comma cob based on the Imp. That was one of the Bedford PC Utes. Again, a British vehicle, but bodied, the rear body, done in Australia. And there's an A40 ice cream van. This is a Guy ambulance, probably mid-1930s, early mid-1930s. There's a Morris Minor van with some unusual rear wheel spats, which I've not seen before. There's a long-term stored 300E. Don't know what happened to that. And a standard Vanguard van at the Lakeland Motor Museum when it was still at Holker Hall. The side view of a Ford V8 Pilot. And another Austin A35 pickup. Gorgeous Royal Mail Morris. Very shiny Morris. W. Morrison's shopping. Supermarket fame, of course, the Jowett Bradford. That's on a split window Morris. And a Morris J4 with wooden drop side body. And that is the full collection of 270 photographs. I hope I got most of the identifications correct, but if you've got any corrections, please let me know and add them to the comments below.